And you're Brandon.
Rachel.
Rachel? Sure.
This is Brandon Reisner, age 21, standing alongside his two parents. For several hours, police were looking for Brandon Reisner. They believed he had something to do with the disappearance of his friend, Aaron Davis. But at this point, they still didn't know where Brandon was. Aaron was only 21. He had recently graduated from college, and he was supposed to be on his way to Alabama to visit his girlfriend. Instead, his car had been found abandoned in Rome, Georgia. The strange part was that Aaron hadn't simply disappeared somewhere on the highway. His car had been found down in a creek, and there was no obvious explanation for how it got there. Police needed to find Aaron, and quickly. On the morning of November 12th, 2022, officers were dealing with something that initially looked more like an abandoned car investigation than a murder case. A Toyota Prius had been found in a creek near Heritage Park in Rome.
I don't think he's in there?
No, I didn't come down there.
Okay. Son's name's Aaron Davis. Supposed to be coming to Rome to see some friends and going to Alabama to see his girlfriend.
I don't think he made it there.
Nah. I wonder where he's at. Why his car down there?
Crazy thing is, there's nothing. I mean, there was no acceleration. It's almost like it just
Rode off in there or something.
yeah. Didn't go all the way up in park or something. Yeah, I mean, there's lights on like it's, but it ain't running.
I rode over here to see what was going on. He was down there changing out the trash.
When officers looked at the vehicle, there was something unusual about it. There wasn't an obvious sign of a crash or a struggle that explained why it had ended up there. And there was no Aaron. Police checked the vehicle and began trying to figure out who it belonged to. The answer gave them their first major lead. The car belonged to Aaron Davis. Now the question was no longer simply, why was this car abandoned? It was, where is Aaron? Investigators contacted Aaron's father. He immediately gave them information that made the situation even more concerning.
Then he's got to go up to visit his girlfriend in Alabama after that.
Okay. Yeah, can you see if you maybe can get a hold of him and check in with him, see where his car is supposed to be?
So you just found the car abandoned there?
Yeah, it's actually off in a little ditch. We're in the process of getting it out. I don't think there's anybody in it right now.
Aaron had been traveling toward Alabama to see his girlfriend. But before continuing the trip, he had stopped in Rome to visit one of his oldest friends, Brandon Reisner. The two had known each other since they were young. They had gone to school together and remained friends through college. According to the family, Aaron was expected to spend the night with Brandon before continuing his trip the next morning. The two were longtime friends. That made Brandon one of the most important people for investigators to speak with. Police called him and asked when he had last seen Aaron. Brandon said Aaron had been at his house. He explained that they had been drinking, and according to his account, Aaron became sick and started vomiting. Brandon's explanation was simple. Aaron had gotten sick. Brandon eventually went to sleep, and when he woke up, Aaron was gone. At first, there was nothing that immediately proved that story was false, but police weren't satisfied with the phone conversation. They went to Brandon's house themselves and asked him to walk them through what had happened. Brandon brought the officers inside and showed them the areas where he said Aaron had been drinking and where he claimed Aaron had become sick. Then investigators noticed something that didn't fit comfortably with Brandon's explanation. Several doors inside the house were locked, including the area connected to the room where Brandon said Aaron had been sick. So the officers wanted to see that room for themselves. They called Brandon to come and show them the room.
Do you mind coming in here with me so you can just show me where I'm going and all that?
Yeah.
Just makes it a little bit easier. The bathroom is up there that he was up checking in. I got you. Oh, Lord. Is that what's in the laundry right now, I guess?
Once officers began looking more closely, the explanation about Aaron simply being sick started to fall apart. Investigators found blood in the upstairs bedroom. They also noticed cleaning products and signs that someone had been trying to clean the area. That changed the nature of the investigation. They weren't just looking for a missing man anymore. They were standing inside a house where something potentially violent had happened. Police later documented blood evidence and extensive cleaning activity at the home. And then Brandon made a decision that immediately changed the investigation.
He jumped the fence, headed back towards Collingwood.
Somewhere between LaPorte and Eastside, gotta be in these houses. Go up to the house.
Officers immediately switched from searching a house to searching an entire neighborhood. Brandon had gotten away on foot, and they didn't know where he was headed. Police began moving through the surrounding streets, checking yards and speaking with people who might have seen him. The problem was that Brandon had disappeared quickly. Every minute that passed made it harder for officers to know where he had gone. Then officers encountered someone who was on the call with Brandon's father, Jeremy.
Sir, I'm Lieutenant Sailor from police.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Reisner, the homeowner,
Yes,
and my Brandon's father.
Yeah, we're probably going to need to talk to Brandon. Do you know where he is?
No, I thought he was still at home. Now, earlier we had told him maybe drive around the areas where they normally hang out and try to look for him, for Aaron. Okay, we'll keep trying to get hold of him. We're still about an hour away, working our way there.
Jeremy told officers he was trying to find his son, too. At this point, even Brandon's own father didn't appear to know where he was. But Jeremy was about to discover something that would completely change his understanding of what had happened inside his own house. After hours of searching, investigators were still trying to locate Brandon. Then Jeremy found something inside the house that could potentially tell them where his son had gone. It was Brandon's phone. And what was on that phone would give investigators their biggest breakthrough yet. Investigators eventually learned that Brandon had left behind a series of disturbing notes and messages. There was also a list of things that needed to be done: cleaning, laundry, showering, and a message claiming that Aaron had been sick. Taken together, the messages gave investigators a very different picture from the story Brandon had originally told them. The case later involved extensive digital and physical evidence, including cleanup activity and messages connected to the aftermath. Few hours later, Jeremy called police detailing that he was with Brandon and that he was willing to surrender. Few minutes later, Jeremy and his wife arrived at the police department with Brandon.
You're Brandon. Rachel. Jeremy. Thank you.
Now that Brandon was secured, the detectives sit him down to try get any basic confession or any information that might ease the part to conviction.
So I'm going to read you some stuff before we get started, okay? You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before you are asked questions and have him with you during questioning.
I would like a lawyer.
You would like a lawyer, okay? All right, sit tight for just a minute.
Brandon was smart. He knows that there's nothing he will say that will help him court. So he decided to keep his mouth shut, but his parents were willing to speak to Brandon, so the investigator turned his attention to them.
I can take you out. Try to show you. I can try to show you. You can try to show us the general area, yeah. Okay. There's an old cemetery up the hill. You turn left. Trendle, something like Trendle. Yeah. We can show you all that.
Jeremy described an old cemetery and the surrounding area to investigators. Officers now had somewhere specific to search.
Call from Brandon this morning, 9 or 10. He was asking about one thing up, falling. So they had a drink. He didn't want Dad finding out that there was falling upstairs in the carpet. That's all we heard. Then an hour or two goes by. Boy's mom calls us. Or I called Brandon back immediately after he murder. So, do you know where Aaron is? He says, well, together around 5, and we were told Aaron had run away and ran from the house, ran from the police. Aaron's body is luckily there. He's mentally unstable. He has Tourette's since he was a kid, diagnosed as a kid. And with that comes OCD, and people say they have OCD all the time, they don't understand. And so they live with that.
This raises the concern that his actions might have been influenced by mental instability. However, it's important to consider the context. Jeremy's statement could be to have Brandon plead insanity in court. Therefore, it's essential to approach this claims with a grain of salt, as they may not fully reflect the reality of the situation. But for now, the police had to go search the cemetery to recover Aaron's body. Aaron's body was found buried in the cemetery behind a secluded area in the back of the property. Even worse, his body was wrapped inside a very shitty cloth. In Brandon's house, the speculation has come to an end. Brandon is cold-blooded murderer. Right after this discovery, Brandon was placed under arrest for the murder of Aaron Davis and was transported to local prison. But the cops find his behavior very unconventional.
Stand right there. Come on.
Go up to the counter, right? Let them follow their instructions. This is his property. You got ID in here if you want to. For me? No, we're talking to him. Oh. You got your ID in there. Oh, yeah.
Officer stated that Brandon remained really calm and completely unfazed by the entire situation. And while Brandon has successfully been captured and the case seemingly come to an end, officers has one tragic duty to complete before the end of the day. Break the news to Aaron's parents that their son had been murdered.
We need questions. Here?
We need my son. The family needs him. Oh my God.
Aaron was a risen college graduate and a good kid with a bright future. His sudden death is nothing but evil, horrifying act on Brandon's behalf, and justice must be served. For Aaron and his family's sake,